Welcome to the deep dive. Forget your everyday, because today we're journeying to Obojima. It's this magic island just brimming with spirits and mysteries.
All detailed in the Obojima Tales from the Tallgrass book. We've pulled together a lot for you: lore, creatures, bits of rules referencing SRD 5.1, locations, history, factions, NPCs.
Magic items, spells, adventure hooks, the works.
Exactly. And our mission here is simple. Give you a really solid overview of Obojima, hit those surprising facts and insights, but, without getting totally bogged down in every single detail.
Absolutely. And the thing that jumped out at me immediately is how different Obojima feels spiritually. It's not about souls like we usually think of.
All right, it's all spirits. Even ghosts are different. They're described as spirits sort of sensed from the spirit realm, bleeding through.
Okay, so the spirit-centric world. What does that actually mean for the people living there, for the island itself?
Well, that's really the heart of it. The sheer number and variety of spirits is staggering. Our sources mention everything: animalistic nature spirits, ancient elder spirits, spirits running shops, even little non-sapient critters.
Wow, so they're just part of the everyday landscape.
Pretty much woven into the fabric of life. And the Obojiman attitude. It seems mostly respectful, maybe a bit cautious. If a spirit isn't causing harm, they tend to just let it be.
A kind of pragmatic coexistence then.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Which is interesting compared to other settings where spirits are either, worshipped or outright feared.
That makes sense. But then there's the flip side, demons. The book says their spirits twisted by something called a corruption.
That's the dark side of it. This transformation seems like a really violent, painful break from the spirit realm. The corruption warps them, makes it almost impossible for them to go back.
So they lose that connection.
Completely. And they become these chaotic, dangerous beings. A total contrast to the often neutral or even helpful spirits you find elsewhere.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder about this corruption. What is it? Why does it do this to spirits?
A force that can fundamentally change the island's essence.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds like a central mystery. How does all this spirit stuff affect their ideas about, well, death?
As you'd expect, it shapes it heavily. And like a lot of things in Obojima, it varies by region. Coastal villages might talk about going beyond the horizon.
Okay.
While in the Gale Fields, they might say someone's return to the island become part of its magic.
So less finality, more transformation.
That seems to be the common thread. The idea that your essence, your core being, is a form of magic, the same energy that flows through the island. It suggests a cycle, your energy returning to the source.
That fits perfectly. Okay, speaking of energy in exchange, the currency sounds fascinating. Flowers, petals, buds.
It is unique. Gold flower, sea petal, copper bud. And they're not just metal tokens. They're minted by sages from the Dawn Blossom Guild who infuse them with magic.
Magic coins.
Yeah, the whole act of exchange is seen as this flow of magical energy keeping the economy alive. And apparently, true coins, the ones properly minted and charged, have this distinctive, pleasing sound.
A sound. So you could potentially hear a fake coin.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that plays a role in spotting counterfeits or depleted coins. It's a great little detail.
It really is. Adds a whole sensory layer to just buying things.
What about languages? How do people communicate across the island?
There are a couple main ones mentioned. Torum is supposedly the language of the spirit realm, but it's described as really hard for physical beings to speak complex sounds.
Okay, so mostly spirits speak it.
Seems that way. Then you have the First Age languages. These are found on ancient objects, ruins, mostly studied by academics now, suggests a whole lost history there.
This First Age keeps popping up. Sounds important. Can you give us the quick version of Obojima's history?
Sure. Most of its history is marked by eras named after major arrivals to the island. The big exception is the very earliest time, the First Age. It's prehistory, really.
Yeah.
And that's where the strange tech comes from.
Exactly. Peculiar technology scattered around, and the spirits themselves, who might even predate whatever civilization was there in the First Age. It gives this feeling of deep, layered history, much of it lost.
Ancient tech, maybe even older spirits.
Yeah.
Definitely sets a tone. Right. Let's actually explore some places. First up, the Gift of Shiratashi. Sounds lovely.
It's described as this beautiful blend of tropical and pastoral landscapes. Named for a legendary spirit, apparently. Think fertile farmland, forests, rolling hills, rivers, golden beaches.
Sounds idyllic.
Very much so. Quaint villages, towns. The main focus is farming and crafts. The book mentions artisans there are skilled at, imbuing their work with the spirit of Shiratashi itself.
Wow, like the spirit of the place is literally in the things they make.
Seems that way. A really harmonious region.
Okay, from harmony to Bandro.
Okay.
Let's talk about Matango Village. Famous for mushrooms and a mushroom monastery.
Matango is definitely unique. The mushroom growth there is apparently phenomenal. It's home to the Rishi clan. They're described as farmer philosophers living in a mushroom monastery.
Bomber philosophers, I love that.
And then there's the Portini family, known for singing, throwing dinner parties, and fiercely guarding their mushroom patches. It's a fun mix of serious study and joyous living.
Singing mushroom guardians. You remember details like that. Any specific people we should know there?
Yeah, the book names a few NPCs. Rihini the Truffle Prince, Myron the Lichen Sage. They sound like they have stories. Plus, there's a truffle pig guild called the Pig Pen and a place called the Moss Boiler for a local moss delicacy.
Moss delicacy.
Right.
And adventure hooks, too.
Yep. Things like angered spirits or maybe a sudden moss shortage. Shows how even these quirky details can spark a story.
It really brings the locations to life.
Mm.
Okay, next is Okiri. A feel-good village, that seems. Maybe too happy.
That's the vibe, yeah. It includes the village and surrounding farms. The people seem almost deliberately unaware of bigger world problems, maybe dangerously so.
So, a potential blind spot. Or maybe just genuinely peaceful.
Could be either. The book suggests it might be a recurring spot in stories, a place of comfort, or maybe where trouble brews because of that naivety. Something feels a bit off, perhaps.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, let's head to Shum and Lake Elior. Tied to the Nakudama civilization, you said?
Yes, a former cradle of their culture. There are ruins along the lake shore, even submerged ones, and a big ziggurat in the deepest part.
Underwater ruins. Cool. Who lives there now?
Mostly aquatic elementals. They're said to be descendants of servants to ancient Nakudama midwives. Inside the ziggurat, there's a chamber of future monarchs, now the lair of some creature called Vararo.
Midwives, elemental servants. That's specific. Any notable figures?
There's Zolde of the midwives, a Nakudama leader there, and apparently there's a lever in Vararo's lair that controls some ancient flood mechanism for the ziggurat.
Intriguing. History literally under the water. Okay, back to the coast. The village of sand. Built from things washed ashore.
Exactly. Bones, ship parts, bottled maps, whatever washes up, they incorporate into their sand-built homes. Creates a really unique look.
Resourceful.
Very. We also meet an apprentice sand sculptor there, Vorian, who might be better than his master. It's a place shaped by chance discoveries from the sea.
Love that. A village built from secrets the ocean gives up.
Okay.
Big shift now. Let's go to the spirit realm, to the poor city of Ulua. How do you even get there?
Get this. You take a river ferry, guided by frogs from the physical realm.
Guided by frogs.
Seriously.
Seriously. Ulua itself is described as being in perpetual twilight. Very lively, maybe a bit chaotic. The Plaza of Lanterns is the main hub, apparently a good spot for schoomers.
And the gravity-defying tavern.
Yes, let's have another. Famous for its tables that just float, apparently. Plus colorful spirits like Brim the bobbing boat barker, Emil the busker, and Humble Utsu, a smuggler. It sounds wild.
Frog ferries, floating tables. Okay. Obojima keeps delivering the weird and wonderful. Back to the physical realm, Yataman, the First Age city. You said it's the most populous. It is, but it's also drenched in First Age mystery. Ancient magic has somehow preserved the buildings, the artifacts. It's almost pristine.
Wow, so it's like walking into the past.
In a way, yeah. But it's also full of strange happenings, active enchantments, peculiar spirits tied to that era. And the AHA, the Arcane Heritage Association, has an outpost there.
Where?
In a first-stage library run by Mortimus Fids, who sounds enthusiastic, Yataman is basically a living museum full of secrets.
A massive, magically preserved city. Incredible potential there.
Right, let's head upwards. Sky Kite Valley. Sounds airy.
It's all about gliders and kites, as you'd guess. Lots of friendly competition between aeronaut engineers. There's a group called Sky Team, led by Rock Rally.
Any interesting spots or people?
There's Marlin the Warden of Barges, apparently always grumpy, and Rufus and Mal, who run the Waterline Pub, which is popular with the flying crowd. There's also a little mystery hook about names appearing on a lock.
Kites, competition, maybe some hidden secrets? Sounds lively. Now even higher. Mount Arbora. Lots going on there, it seems. Definitely diverse. You've got the Hogstone Hot Springs linked to a legend about Jan, a boar spirit. It's a spa with different pools and an apothecary run by a dara.
A spa run by a spirit legend.
Nice. Then there's Jamaga, the sky salamander who lives there. Big, powerful, and apparently has good days and bad days.
Best visit on a good day, I imagine.
Probably wise. There's also Rockwinder's village, whose people act as guides to the ledge of offering where you leave gifts for Jumarga.
Appeasement. Smart.
And then there's Toggle, this mining town in a huge X-shaped canyon, known for tough locals called togglers and singing competitions.
Singing miners.
Yeah.
In a giant X canyon. Yeah.
Plus folks like Carmenjen, a superstitious looter, and Isabel Skiff, an AHA gem hunter. It's a real mix up there.
Hot springs, a moody sky salamander, singing miners. Mount Arbora is packed. Okay, let's move to the plains. The Gale Fields. Tall grasses.
Sweeping fields of tall grass. They were apparently once roads for an old Nakudama city, Lilywin. The courier brigade keeps some paths clear, but otherwise it's wild and dangerous.
What's out there besides monsters?
The Witching Tower. It's the HQ for the Fishhead Coven.
Fishhead Coven.
Yep. Council witches like Yolikanter Krogies, Bim of the Beasts, Brass Eye. There's an apprentice named Tan with a spirit companion, Abi. They guard these things called chatos.
Chatos.
Small carved statues said to hold arcane knowledge. Also in the Gale Fields, the crawling canopy, a forest that moves.
A mobile forest. Seriously.
Apparently. And mysterious people called the Saved, who are described in different ways. It's a place of old ruins, wild nature, and hidden magic.
Wow. Fish heads, moving forests. The Gale Fields sound intense. Let's wade into the Bracken Wetlands next. Sounds damp and dangerous.
It is. More somber. Polwater Village is there, still recovering from some disaster, dealing with demons and corrupted fish, led by a young guy named Ernest.
Tough job for him. Anything else unusual?
There's a shop called the Goody Mart, full of first-stage relics that attract weird spirits, and Gamura's Subway.
A subway in the wetlands.
A ruined one. Haunted by Gamura, a mad elder spirit looking for its lost heart. There's even mention of a wandering line train sometimes appearing there. And bizarrely, Hakumon's ramen shop, run by an Oni chef.
An Oni ramen chef in a haunted subway wetland. Right. Only in Obojima. Okay, let's find some tranquility. Roakala, home of the Dara.
Yes, a very spiritual place for the Dara. They believe they emerge from trees there, and each tree gives them glyphs with life info.
Born from trees. That's amazing. How do others see Roakala?
As a place of powerful magic and mystery, generally treated with a lot of respect, even awe, it speaks to a very different kind of existence for the Dara.
Deeply connected to the island's core.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, next, Opal Falls. Tallest waterfall.
Yep, tallest on Obojima, and there's a town built right into the cliff face beside it.
Clever. Any local legends?
Oh yeah, Din, the spirit of Opal Falls, can apparently turn villagers into salmon.
Turn them into salmon.
That's what it says. There are even young stewards who study the transformed salmon villagers. Wayla, the river master, oversees boat traffic from a tower, and the old Stonetail Tavern tells tales of a giant crocodile with a stone tail.
Villagers becoming salmon. Okay, that's definitely unique. This place sounds incredibly tied to its spirit. What about the airfield? Sounds more functional.
A bit more rough and ready, maybe? It's got Finn's hangar, full of his unreliable airships, the air traffic control tower, taken over by Harpy riffraff.
Harpies in the control tower. That sounds disruptive.
Probably is. And nearby is Rumble Hill, which isn't a hill at all. It's a giant sleeping cat.
A giant cat, of course. Adds to the chaos, I guess.
What about the AHA headquarters itself? The main base.
It features a big observation dome with a prize telescope, usually handled by Lonzo, who's apparently often sleepy. And the archive, huge collection of documents, lore, even special theory closets for research.
Theory closets. I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like the brain of Obojima studies. Now, under the waves, shallows. It's the whole undersea area around Obojima, lots of coral mazes. It's contested territory between rivals called the Lionfish King and Venomous Rex.
Underwater politics and encounters.
You might run into fish folk pirates down there. It's a whole other world beneath the surface.
Definitely. Lastly, for locations, this wandering line. The mysterious train.
Yeah, it's really enigmatic. Appears and disappears randomly, stops in unexpected places, like a spirit coal room run by a coal master. Nobody knows its full route or origin.
A ghost train, almost. Very cool. Okay, that's a whirlwind tour of places. Let's talk skills. Sword masters.
2 schools mentioned. Telu and Scales' School of the Versatile Blade focuses on endurance, outlasting foes, has a secret master technique.
Okay, defensive focus.
Then Toraf and Boulder's School of Guts and Grit. More about field training, tough love, learning by facing Obojima's dangers head-on.
Resilience through experience. 2 very different paths. What about the people unique ancestries?
Definitely. We mentioned the Nakudama, the frog-like folk. Some have this toxin bloodline from warrior ancestors.
Right, the toxic frog people.
And the Dara, born from trees in Roakala, seem connected to something beyond the physical world, very distinct from humans or elves.
Adds so much flavor. Now, this Waxwork Rogue, what is that?
It's a tradition in the courier brigade. Comes from a witch who knew how to enchant wax and fire, maybe for disguises or signals. Sounds really unique.
Enchanted wax and fire. Very evocative. Are there other magical boons or abilities mentioned?
One specific example is a boon called selfishness. Lets you heal yourself by hurting allies nearby.
Oof, that's dark. Shows magic isn't always clean or heroic there.
Exactly. It can have real costs and questionable uses.
What about companion spirits? Are they just pets?
No, they're described as sentient minor spirits. They have personalities, hang around people for their own reasons, can help, cause trouble, offer advice.
Like having a little piece of the spirit realm tagging along. Neat. The book also mentions different adventure endings. Anticlimactic or reversals.
Yeah, it suggests not every story ends with the big win. An anticlimactic ending, living to fight another day, sets up longer campaigns. A reversal, where you realize you were wrong about something, forces critical thinking.
Makes for more complex stories, I guess. Not always satisfying, maybe, but more realistic sometimes.
Perhaps. It encourages looking beyond simple good versus evil.
Right. Now, creatures. There seems to be a ton.
Oh, absolutely. From little things like the acorn crab and dust bunny to the akobata that hoards truths, the freezing cuttlebug.
Cuttlebug sounds nice until the freezing part.
Right. Then the deep angler with its illusion lure, the tormented demons, hammer gulls dropping rocks, harpies.
Hill dragons, howlers with their pack dynamics and rogues, the ancient hunter-protector.
Jumaga, the sky salamander we mentioned, Kafuka, the dangerous lion's bloom plant, the postal knight delivering mail no matter what.
Postal Knight. Love it. Keep going.
Green slime, soda slime bubbly, the stole that makes you hallucinate with its chatter, the irigama whose laugh causes exhaustion.
Laughs you tired.
Spellcasting wasps called Vespoma, the vile corruption that shape-shifting water terror, the wandering door that teleports you. And can't forget the giant Venus fly rat.
Giant Venus fly rat. That's quite the image. And wandering encounters are built in too.
Yes, specific tables for places like the coastal highlands, gale fields, bracken wetlands, keeps travel interesting and dangerous.
Definitely feels like a living, breathing, often biting world. What about magic items adventurers might find?
Some really cool ones. The cloud-touched boomerang creates a vortex. Coin's edge turns a coin into a dagger. The corrupted pendant, wonder what that does.
Yeah. Sinister, maybe.
Dagger of the Deep, familiar's collar to bond with animals, a field cauldron for mobile potion brewing.
Field cauldron. Practical.
Fisherman's spear that extends magically, flying broomstick, of course, jacket of blending for camouflage, painter's sun hat for illusions, and a scuttling lantern that walks on its own.
A self-walking lantern. These items have so much character, they fit the world perfectly. Spells, too. Any standouts?
Very much so. Create Spirit Train Stop lets you flag down the wandering line. Dara blocks for invisible walls, Feast of the Waters to make food and drink.
That's cooking.
Yeah, charms a crowd. Jolt gives an electric shock or powers machines briefly. Monkey Paw, well, you know how those work. Risky wishes.
Definitely risky.
Mushroom Ballista launches exploding fungi. Storm Stallion summons a windy horse. Submerge for breathing underwater. Whelm Weapon weakens enemy gear. Wind Sprint for speed bursts.
Summoning a spirit train stop is just peak Obojima. The magic feels really integrated. What about potions? How does brewing work?
It's treated as a skill, needing care. You need to identify and gather ingredients. Arcane detection kits and almanacs help.
What kind of ingredients are we talking?
All sorts. Bashu powder, blueback salmon, howler fur, itchy berry, rarer stuff like blossom of spirit vine, fairy willow wood, giant koi fish scale.
Howler fur, itchy berries.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. And the potions themselves.
They have great names and effects. Tunnel vision, don't hit me juice.
Don't hit me juice. I need some of that.
Secret path, ups a daisy for healing, even mind transfer. The names often give you a clue, but maybe not the whole story.
Adds that element of unpredictable magic again. Okay, we've covered so much detail. Let's pull back to the big picture. The mysteries. What are the major unanswered questions?
The book leaves quite a few hanging, intentionally it seems. What is Obojima, fundamentally? What caused the big earthquake and tsunami? What exactly is the corruption, and why is there no cure? What's beyond the island?
The origins of the first age tech, right?
Yeah.
And the Dara.
Exactly. And the Nakudama legends, that wandering forest, the crawling canopy, all these big open-ended questions.
So it's a world that invites you to keep asking questions, not just find answers.
Precisely. They're part of the island's identity, fuel for more stories, not just plot points to resolve quickly.
Wow. Well, this deep dive into Obojima, It's been fantastic. We've really journeyed through its unique spirit world, explored these incredible locations, touched on its quirky magic, and highlighted those lingering, compelling mysteries.
So many aha moments and surprising details packed into one place.
Absolutely. We really aim to give you that solid overview, like a shortcut to getting familiar with Obojima's core ideas.
Hopefully without making your head spin too much.
So as we wrap up here, maybe think about this. Which of Obojima's mysteries grabs you the most? What stories could you imagine telling in this world? You might ponder that connection between spirits and the physical, or the implications of that relentless corruption.
Lots to chew on.
For sure. Until our next deep dive, may your own explorations be full of wonder.